The things that we do that are the most creative and out of the box are the things that I often find the most satisfying. It's really important to manage grant programs well and to do it in a way that's accountable and responsive to people's needs. But when we come up with something like Culture Shock Miami as an initiative to introduce high school and college kids to the arts with $5 tickets, those things are golden to me. I mean, I go to theaters and I'm standing on the will call line to pick up my tickets sometimes, and there are kids in front of me wearing Culture Shock Miami t-shirts, and they're talking about how amazing it is to be at the Arts Center, and they'd never been there before, and I'm thinking to myself, we did that. You know, we gave these kids their first introduction to the arts in a way that is accessible to them. And I'll never forget the focus groups that we did on Culture Shock when we were engaged in this issue of how are we going to get the next generation of audiences. And the epiphany was, you know, when do kids begin to make their own decisions about entertainment? You know, when they're in high school and college. And so we sat down with a bunch of kids and just a random group that the school system helped put us together for us. And I said to them, so what do you do in the arts? You know, what do you go to? And I got blank looks. And then one girl said to me, I go to the mall. And then some other kid said, I go to see movies. Okay, we're getting closer. And then they stopped. And I said, do you ever go to a museum or do you go to a theater performance? And almost universally they said, well, that's not for us. You know, those people don't invite us, and, you know, they're not interested in having us come. And I said, well, what if you were invited? What if it was specifically geared towards you and the ticket was cheaper than going to a movie? And they were like, well, we'll go. We'll try that then. And so we developed Culture Shock, and it was enormously satisfying. It was enormously challenging to figure out how to access all of that until we just sat down with them and talked to them, to high school and college kids, and found out what they thought about. That's one. The other thing that was enormously challenging was creating the South Miami-Dade Cultural Arts Center. Because there was nothing in the south end of the county in regard to the arts, and there was a lot of skepticism about whether or not it should even be built there. And I and my team here and Commissioner Dennis Moss were convinced that the population was shifting south and that we'd better get on this and develop a cultural facility that could help serve those needs. And then Hurricane Andrew hit. And just at the moment where we were beginning to develop critical mass for this, but it provided an opportunity because land values went way down, and we bought the property at that moment for the South Dade Cultural Arts Center. And then we hired the architect, our department did, and we hired the construction company. It was a troubled construction process for the building. And then we couldn't give it up, so we decided to manage it ourselves, which was a big leap for us. It was the first facility we ever managed. And every one of those things were enormous changes for the way the department did business, and every one of them paid off. I mean, I talked to you earlier about Miami being the place, if you want to see what the 21st century looks like. Well, if you really want to see what it looks like, go to the South Dade Cultural Arts Center, because in a 10-mile radius, you have wealthy suburban neighborhoods and you have poor working class neighborhoods, and all of those people congregate in the South Miami-Dade Cultural Arts Center. Young, old, Caribbean, Black, Hispanic, Anglo, kids, families, senior citizens, they're all there. You go to see a performance there, that's the audience, and that's what the goal was, to make this the kind of place where people really felt comfortable about going to, and it was their cultural center. And what makes it even better is the building is brilliant. Architecturally brilliant and functionally brilliant. So artists love performing there, audiences love going there, it's mesmerizing to them. We have an amazing public artwork by Robert Chambers that got developed in the building as well. And it was a gigantic 20-year-long quest to build the building, and we got it done.